think Arsenal are running the early rules, but then you cannot really trust Arsenal to go all the way. I've seen them in this situation.
Arsenal and trust in the same sentence.
That's what I'm saying. We cannot trust them to go all the way.
Hi guys, my name is Oluwadamilola. Welcome to this week's episode of the AO Show, the Champions League special. And I'm joined by the familiar regular face, Jacobs Dunga. I'm sure you do have a good time. The UCL final group games is going to take place on Wednesday, and we are going to have 36 teams across various centers in action. Real Madrid, PSG, Barcelona, everyone. And PSG, for one, kind of not to be in that zone of reclaiming their title this season. Because I don't know what is obviously wrong with this Enrique. And somebody said this might finally be the end of his time at PSG. But before we actually go into PSG's woes and everything related, let's look at the run of games that we have for the Champions League, because this is a new format where nothing like home and away again. You have to be
long year anymore. It's the second year. We cannot say it.
Yeah, it's still actually growing on me because I still haven't actually blended it. Yes, that format, yes.
It's actually been an interesting one. Last season it caught the teams by surprise, but this season they seem to have adjusted. You can see all the big teams at the top of.
Yes, yeah.
Unlike last season where we had strange teams making the top 8, and most of the big so-called big teams going to through the playoff to even PSG that eventually won. That has to go through to find their feet in the tournament. But this season it has been a different ball game entirely.
This Champions League kind of give me the idea that we can have a league format where all the top teams across Europe top 5 leagues can come together and we'll have a table for them and we'll know.
Are they trying to resuscitate the talk of this?
So Pligi is more or less like that format.
I do not think the Super League will happen anytime soon. But let's see how it goes, right? Because she never can write anything off players.
Super League aside, let's look at the run of fixtures that we have. Everything will be in action. The last features, and that game kind of be like the next phase decider.
It's gonna tell whether you're gonna play through extra games
or not.
Every team wants to avoid playing through extra games because already the fixtures are congested. They are too packed for the number of players in each squad. So I think those big teams would want to do everything they can
to make sure they avoid that stress because it can collide with their league games.
Exactly. So let's see how it goes. It's gonna be a very interesting Wednesday night across different centers in Europe. I hope that my team eventually makes it out.
Oh, okay. Right now, Arsenal are the talk of the town. They are the ones in the table, and for them, passage into the next one is secure.
Has been confirmed.
Yeah.
Alongside Bayern Munich.
Yes, Bayern Munich. Why? Bayern Munich are kind of running so hard this season, not just in the Champions League but also in the.
They are alongside Arsenal the two most important in Europe, so you cannot take anything away from them. But then I still feel that they are not as efficient as people think they are.
When you say efficient as they are supposed to be, what do you mean by that?
Bayern Munich, considering the oppositions they have to face in the German Bundesliga, you really cannot see that they are playing at a level where the likes of Arsenal, the Real Madrid, the Inter this world play. So there's a huge gap between Bayern Munich and the rest of the German Bundesliga team. So you really cannot say that they are.
JD, I'm not buying this stock. The reason I'm not buying this stock because every team are investing. Every team are buying players. So if I'm the strongest,
Italian teams are not investing. Italian teams are 4. They are pissed, but
that is where your team is now.
Yeah, and that's why I'm telling you that every team is not investing. Italian teams are struggling. They are financially struggling. Cannot compare the resources available in the league to that of the Premier League or that of the Spanish league. It's the same thing in Spain as well. Only Real Madrid and Barcelona are way ahead of the other.
And also Atletico. Atletico have spent $1 billion in kind of that buying players
because the distribution of the TV rights in the Spanish La Liga favors the top teams and leaves the so-called smaller teams hanging in the balance. So it's the same thing in Germany. Bayern Munich run the rules over all the other teams.
And there was even a time that Bayern Munich was getting the best player of each team.
So when Bayern Munich goes on a winning run in the German Bundesliga, I cannot really say they are particularly doing extremely well because you have to test them against the big teams in Europe. And when they came up against us now, you see what happened. They
lost Arsenal though because
really flat. Even if they eventually won their game against Barcelona, I think they declared Barcelona this season in the champion in the group stage.
Okay, quickly let's look at the games. Let's look at each one of them, and I want us to do like a quick talk on each one of them, and we'll move on. Ajax, Olympiacos.
Ajax, do they still have any chance of qualifying to the next?
I don't think so. They should just let it go.
I think they still have a chance to qualify. The only teams that do not stand any chance to qualify are Eintracht Frankfurt, Slavia Prague, Villarreal, and Kairat Almaty. Every team from
And that Kairat Almaty playing against Asa.
you understand, every team from 32nd position upwards still have the mathematical chance of making it into the next round, at least through the playoffs.
Bilbao and Sporting.
Athletic Bilbao have been blowing hot and cold this season.
I mean, from inside even they have been owned down.
Cannot predict what to expect.
They lost in La Liga about the weekend against Sevilla.
If they lost by 3 goals to nil,
2-1,
right?
Yeah.
Before that, I think they lost about 3 goals to nil against a particular. I cannot remember.
And for a team that Ernesto Valverde took to the UCL in his first 2 years, everybody thought that this was.
I personally thought they were going to build on that's this. I think it'd be so underwhelming this season. And another case like that is that of Villarreal. They've been flying in this.
Yeah.
But then, when it comes to the Champions League, they struggled and struggled. They've not managed to win any. They are top 4 in the Spanish Liga, but then they are around 35th or 34th in the Champions League. They've only managed to draw 1 game. They've lost every other of their games. So
game.
I think it's a completely different situation for them in La Liga and in Europe.
Also, let's look at Atletico Madrid and Bodo Glimt. That game looks to be. I don't think Atletico Madrid are in a kind of scared zone.
They are not in a precarious situation. They are only playing to make the top 8. Like I said before, every team on the log would want to avoid playing 2 extra games in February. So I think Atletico might just end up winning that tie and probably find themselves in the top 8 teams.
Okay, let me do a rundown. Barcelona will be playing Copenhagen and Bayer
Leverkusen. Barcelona will automatically qualify for next term because I see them finishing it.
Yes, they will. Bayer Leverkusen against Villarreal, Benfica against Real Madrid, Club Brugge against Marseille.
Or returning to Chicago Bernabeu.
Exactly. Then Club Brugge.
Or they are playing in Portugal.
No,
they are playing in Portugal.
It is Real Madrid going to Portugal. Yes. Then your team Dortmund against Inter.
And that might just end up losing because I don't really understand what.
That be so poor. Look at the lessons
have been poor. It's particularly against the big size. Said it's in one of our past episodes. I said it's a psychological problem. Immediately they get into those big games, they play really well. It's not as if we don't play well.
The actually wrong with Kivu. Is it that Kivu doesn't know how to manage this?
Kivu only had 13 games as a senior coach before being hired by Inter. He was appointed by.
And so not even a top club.
Yes, it was Parma. He was saddled with the responsibility of taking them through the relegation struggle. Just especially made them stay up in the league, and then Inter came and he started the job really well in the Club World Cup. He got ousted in quarterfinals, losing to Flamengo by 2 goals to nil. Then he took the league. He took up the league, the Italian league, which is very, very tactical, one of the most tactical leagues in the world. He lost 2 of his first 3 games, and since then he has been firing on all cylinders in the league. Only that he comes short in the big games. I don't know, it's a psychological problem. I hope that he overcomes it.
And these are that was actually what happened for Como under Cesc Fabregas when they promoted. They were having that issues with big teams. Even small teams were beating them. But look at them this season. They are one of the highest scoring side in Serie A and also one of the top 10 teams.
Yes, Cesc is doing a wonderful job with Como, but then it's a top another. It was supposed to do a Champions League destruction.
Yeah, that's true. Then Liverpool against Bournemouth. Nowhere to be found. Now against Karabakh.
I think the earlier the better for Liverpool to take a decision on that. It is still
for sacking managers like that. So
it is still very possible for them to salvage something from this game. If they want to do that, they have to.
He's not even sure they will go to the next UEFA Champions League spot. If he's there, Manchester City against Galatasaray, Leroy Sane is coming here to the head.
I think Man City would want to do everything in their power to win the game. So Abu Dhabi, they lost to Bodo Glimt disappointedly in their last game. So I think they want to win this one.
That clash, they had to refund fans money.
You understand. It's one of those things. It's
very disappointing.
It was a very disappointing encounter.
Okay, let's go to Morocco, Juventus.
Juventus have been flattering to deceive in the Champions League. I think they've drawn too many games. It's not as if they've lost any game in the Champions League. If at all, it will be one game or so. But they've drawn like 3 to 4 games. So and they are as well in the running to make the top 8, if I'm not mistaken. So I think
They are away though.
they should be able to edge Monaco, because Monaco this season have been a shadow of themselves.
Look at the terrible loss against Real Madrid, but then it is what it is. Napoli, Chelsea returning so quickly.
That's some game. That's some game. Chelsea are going to the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona.
With their former head coach.
Yeah, with their former head coach. They are going to play against their former head coach. Conte, as we know, is one dreadful coach in the UEFA Champions League. He has only won one more game that he has lost in the competition. He has won 17, drawn 16, and lost another 16 of his games in the tournament. He is one of the best coaches when it comes to going the stretch. That's in the league. But then when it comes to European competitions, he falters. He really does not have answers to whatever comes his way. So I feel that Chelsea might just go there and find the result. But I hope that Napoli comes out with a result so that it can remain in the Champions League. Because you know Conte, you know what he does. He tries to assist the champions so
that he can focus
on the.
That's going to be an advantage for Inter.
I don't want him to review Champions League. Quite besides that.
Okay, PSG, Newcastle, PSV, Bayern Munich, and the last one, Real, against Atalanta, and Paphos against Slavia Prague, where we are going to have our Nigerian brother.
Paphos have been impressive, so I think that's a close game. But who's playing at home? I think Paphos. Slavia has
Slavia going to Paphos. Yes.
Oh, I think Paphos might just edge them because
Paphos were away to Chelsea the last time where they lost narrowly 1-0.
Yes, but Slavia already eliminated, so I think Paphos might just do everything they have to win that game.
Alright, quick rundown of the top 10 teams: Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Tottenham, PSG, Newcastle, Chelsea, Barca, and Sporting CP. Then closely followed by Manchester City. That is out of the
top of the top 8 places are still for grabs. So let's embrace in the last round.
Now so let's look at the chances of these teams that they are trying to avoid 2 games extra because of the fatigue of the fixtures and also league responsibilities. Yes. What teams are you looking at banking on this final game?
Too early to call in my opinion, because as you can see from last season, PSG were nowhere to be found in the group stages. They even narrowly qualified as one of the playoff teams, and you saw what they did.
They came to win.
They defeated all comers. They went all the way and dismantled Inter in the final. So I think Arsenal are running the early rules, but then you cannot really trust Arsenal to go all the way. I've seen them in this situation.
That's and trust in the same sentence.
That's what I'm saying. You cannot trust them to go all the way. So let's wait until maybe after the first playoff round. Probably point fingers and people that will feel that might go all the way in the Champions League.
And funny enough, we have Liverpool in top 4.
Yes, the Liverpool are not particularly bad. It's just that their results have been very, very inconsistent. Today they are winning, the next day they are losing. So they have won 5 of their 7 games and in the group stage. So that's about 15 points for them. They only need to draw their last game to finish in the top 8. So if they can take a quick decision on an issue, I think they can still salvage something from here.
Tottenham is the original definition of what you ordered versus what you
always say. Tottenham are consistently inconsistent. It's a cultural problem at the club. So José Mourinho had been there, Antonio Conte had been there, Nunes had there. The best coaches in world war have been there, and still it has remained the same case. I don't think it's a coaching problem at Tottenham as well. I just think it's a cultural problem at this point.
Some of the teams that should just forget about qualification to the next round: Villarreal, Slavia, Frankfurt, Ajax and Karl
unexpectedly disappointing.
Paphos and Benfica. You say should just forget about that game.
I think it was a bit harsh on José Mourinho the moment he came in at Benfica. He had to face some of the toughest teams in the group phase. He faced Villarreal of Juventus. He faced Chelsea. Before then he played against one of that top teams. So I think it was not really his fault that Benfica where they are now in the league.
It wasn't, because he came at the time where they already started before he...
In the league, he remained unbeaten until about 4 weeks ago, and he has only lost about 1 game in Modi, if I'm not mistaken. But already,
very well,
it has been eliminated from the league, so has something to work on. He has to know how to improve his team, and probably they can as well salvage something for themselves domestically.
Thank you so much for staying by. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe.